Hello and welcome to www.luxurytolast.com and www.collectinglouisvuitton.com. Today we're talking luxury watches, and we're talking one of my favourite all-time Holy Trinity members. We're talking about the Audemars Piguet ultra-thin men's dress watch. Now, if you look at Audemars Piguet's current offering, you would tend to think that Audemars Piguet makes monstrosities and dinner plate specials. If you look at the Royal Oak offshore chrono, you look at some of the monstrosities that have just gotten out of hand, you would never suspect that AP actually had a proud history of making the ultra-thin dress watch. And this is one thing that I think is very sad. It's the commercial reality we live in. Do we have to prostitute ourselves to sell our products? Unfortunately we do. We live in a commercial world and money means everything. But if we go back to a bygone era, there was a time when making an ultra-thin dress watch was the ultimate in watchmaking class and style, and the epitome of class and just having good values. Now, what actually happened was the Holy Trinity is Patek, Vacheron and Audemars Piguet. And at the time what happened was, well, Jaeger-LeCoultre, another great brand, teamed up with Vacheron Constantin and Audemars Piguet, and they decided to develop some movements which they would then use together. Now they used a base Jaeger-LeCoultre Ebosch. Now at the time, Vacheron and AP, they owned shares in JLC, and this is why they pooled resources. It's not a matter of doing something cheap like using an ETA movement. This is a genuine situation where they pooled resources. Vacheron and AP developed movements. Now, the Vacheron numbers are slightly different. The first ultra-thin movement was using a Vacheron reference number was 1001. Now, that movement was used in my 6405. That's one of the first thin dress watch movements. It came out in the late 50s. My watch is 1960. The next movement that they released, if we use Vacheron reference number, was K1003. Now the Audemars Piguet version of that movement was reference number 2003. And in my Audemars Piguet, that's the movement I've got. It's the 1.6mm, that's right, 1.6mm movement. And in my ultra-thin dress watch, that's what it's using. It's using the 2003. In a Vacheron piece with the same movement, it would be a K1003. Now, the interesting thing is the Vacheron version of this movement is a Geneva seal. The AP version is not a Geneva seal. Not that that terribly makes much difference. It's an AP, and an AP's reek of class. The beautiful thing about this watch is it's just so hard to make a movement that thin. Now, I've had this debate with other snooty people, and they've said to me the K1003 Vacheron movement or the AP 2003 are actually the thinnest movements ever made in the world. And I've actually said, no, you are wrong. LaSalle, that's right, LaSalle made a thinner movement. They had a 1.2mm movement, which was actually thinner. LaSalle was taken over by Seiko, and it's sort of disappeared ever since. However, the VC snobs have said to me, well, the LaSalle movement, Vacheron actually did use that same movement, and it didn't work properly. Well, I would have to say that when the LaSalle movement was in a LaSalle watch, it didn't have those problems, so maybe the VC technical staff should have learnt a few things before they bought the movements. And I must say, the AP with the 2003 movement that I've got here, it's just a classy watch. It's ultra thin, it's just beautiful, and 18 karat. This would have been a very expensive watch in its day. I think the ultra thin dress watch is going to come back in, and these will pick up in value. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Thanks very much, and don't forget to come to my website www.luxurytolast.com. Thank you.